Wait, you made soda?
Yeah, I made my own soda. It was called Fizzo. And I sold it out of the wagon. I'd bring it up to our pool, and I would just sell it out of the wagon.
How'd you make soda?
It's just like combined, probably really not a right way to make soda, but like, yeah, combined.
Like bleach and...
just poison my whole neighborhood.
and cocaine and stuff like that.
They loved it. Let me tell you, it wrecked my neighborhood. Fizzo is not FDA approved.
Hey, we're live. You ready? Get your headphones on, man.
You just handed them to me.
Well.
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah? I can hear you
This
too.
is pretty cool. Yeah. I like the headphones.
Yeah. Elton did a good job setting this place up.
So you guys might not know this, but there was absolutely no chaos right before we went live just now. It was pretty calm.
We're just like,
we've been hanging out for like 20 minutes, not
drinking
doing anything.
Coffee.
Yeah, just getting ready. There's really no one else in here.
No stress.
It's probably one of the least stressful starts to a podcast that we've had so far, I would say.
Yeah, you didn't have to climb under a table or anything, you know?
Not yet, but here's the thing is I definitely couldn't get out of here if we're back to being pretty crammed in again.
Yeah, but it's a great space. Look at the art.
It's really cool. And what you guys might not know, we are back with the full crew plus Elton. So we got Jacob here. We got Lucas here. We got Elton making sure, not sweating at all, making sure everything goes okay. We have cameras back in here again, so you guys can see us, although I cannot see myself, which is frustrating. So
I'm sorry that you have to see us.
Yeah, I have to just see you live in the flesh.
Yes.
And that's not really what I was planning on doing today. So,
but people like the video thing.
They do. They do.
So.
Well, I wanted us to switch this a long time ago, and this is probably the most professional we've had it. We have also real cameras. I can't give you any more information than that because I know
They're
nothing.
not iPads anymore.
They're not iPads anymore. They used to all be iPads.
We're all grown up.
And we have real cameras. One is currently being moved live, which feels like a really good decision.
You're not supposed to tell them that, though.
Yeah. So
we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, we gave you guys last week. We gave you guys kind of a recap of how we got here, and how that happened. But one of the things we didn't mention is that we had put together a set of questions that Kristi, Shawn's wife, had put together with others. We do not know what they are.
No idea.
And we thought it could be kind of fun. For one of us to try to read live on the radio, which seems super risky.
You really don't want me to.
I'm going to try it.
Okay.
And we'll see how that goes.
I can read.
Well, sure.
Kind of.
A little.
I mean, I'm only a PhD.
I mean, you're far more educated. You're far more educated than I am. So,
reading out loud is different, though.
I want to start with a quick topic before we go into that because my wife wanted me to ask you live on the radio.
Oh.
She asked me.
When's she going to start her podcast up again?
I don't know.
Chutzpah was a great podcast.
Chutzpah was really good.
It was good.
I think that she could get back into it. Maybe we could find her some space. Here with creating more.
It was awesome.
Items on the radio.
I know. She's like she has projects and she moves on. I understand that.
Yeah, I'm
like that too.
She gets really excited about stuff.
It was
then does it, and then she's like, "Okay, I'll try something else."
Yeah.
So she was talking about book writing, as most of you guys know that she has written and is trying to publish a book, and she asked me if I ever think dyslexia related, if I ever think that I could write a book. And I thought about it for about, 20 seconds. And I said, no. I was like, no, I don't think so. 1, attention span, and 2, writing ability. But then she was like, well, you should ask Shawn because Shawn's written like 1 million papers and
a couple books.
So do you think that, obviously grammatically challenging, assumed.
But you have Grammarly now.
Sure.
Which helps.
Yeah.
And then you marry Kristi.
Oh, I forgot about you. You can just marry Kristi, and then she'll help you edit it. She'll help you edit the whole thing.
I know, like, I'll text people, and I'm like, oh, man, I messed up.
I talk to text a lot now.
Oh, yeah.
Just with the little microphone. But
well, it messes up.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the car. We got a new car.
Yeah.
My first new car. Like yeah.
The Toyota, right?
Yeah,
The best. The
RAV4
best.
Woodlawn edition, so we can go out in the woods.
Yeah.
At the cabin.
You love the woods.
And so we would like tap the phone and say, call Henna, which is my daughter.
Sure.
And it would call Hannah, which is not my daughter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I kind of sometimes, and I'll get back to what I was talking about the book, but I kind of sometimes talk like text with my car, right? Where I like say out a like text Shawn, and then I'll say out the text. And what it does is it'll read the text back to you to make sure that it's right.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of stopped doing that part though. I was just like, whatever it wants to say,
it.
Then just say it. Like people know that I'm dyslexic and that I'm also texting with a car. And sometimes I'll go to call Bridget and it'll call another Bridget in my phone.
Yes.
And I'll just talk to the other Bridget. I'll be like, this is what the universe wanted for me.
Right.
You know, and I'll just kind of let the AI control my conversations.
Hey, Hobbs, what was that text we sent on our car about the cat?
What did cat do?
What did cat do?
What did cat do?
And
It's about a human.
Hannah has a friend named Cat. So it said to Hannah, who's a vet. It said, what would Cat do? Or something like that. And we were like, And then we're like, we'll get back to it, you know, because we're driving.
Yeah.
And did we ever respond to that?
I said sorry.
Okay.
I think it's fun to not respond to.
Just like
to send
mess
some
them up.
crazy text and then be like
why have you not responded?
Why have not grocery gotten like? And I'll send stuff. And here's the thing: like I'll send stuff to my employees because I'm driving around all the time, and I won't let it edit before I send. And like they're not going to say anything, you know. But then all of a sudden, I'll send something to Bridget, and Bridget was like, "Are you like on drugs right now? Like what is happening?"
It's
and
like,
I'm like,
no, it's just the way.
It's just the way. It's what it wanted me to say.
Yeah, and for me, I was typing it, but I mean, for times when I mess up,
Sure.
I type it and then it autocorrects.
Yep.
And I send it.
Yep.
And I'm like, then I read it. I'm like, I sound like an idiot.
What's good is you can live edit texts now too, so you can send a text and within a window on the iPhone,
kind of like
I should say,
on LinkedIn
you can
or whatever.
Hold it down. You can hold the text down and edit it live. So technology is amazing on that part. But what I was going to ask is, as someone who is pretty prolific writer, writes a lot, has written a lot of things, what does your process look like, and do you think it's different because you're dyslexic? Outside of editing, I mean, editing I know is a part of it, and I'm sure you have your ways of editing as well to make it not, you know, ridiculous. But
yeah, we probably talked about this before. For me, writing, I have to be really focused.
yeah,
So no online. I'm just on Word.
oh, I gotcha.
Got to
Yeah.
be just totally focused. And then for me, writing is a very selfish thing.
Okay.
So I think we talked about this before, but like with Kristi, I was like, I need to write. So you need to tell me when to write.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's
give me a space for it.
I'm going to go out with my friends. You got 2 hours to write.
Yep.
I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Because I have to be like really focused on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just get scattered. I scatter.
Yeah.
But I have ADHD too. I've
Sure.
just been discovered with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's kind of how it works. For me, it has to be communal.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to ignore my family.
Yeah.
You know what
It
I
has
mean?
to like fit in with your life. It has to be a social piece, but also you have to allow the selfish space to do some of the deeper writing, you would say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
And then a lot of times, like what I write, I do research-oriented stuff.
Sure.
So while Kristi's working, because she edits dissertations, I'll be like reading articles
Yeah.
and highlighting them and getting them all together.
Do you read a lot of fiction?
Fiction is, oh man, I can't remember. Not true.
Right. Yeah, that's the not true stuff.
Why do they just call it not true?
I think they could. Because
and then nonfiction is true.
it's honestly, nonfiction feels to me a little like a double negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not dyslexic friendly.
It's
like,
this is not what I was intending of diving into.
For me,
but
it's like
definitely true.
It's like left and right. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to think.
Yep. But you don't do. But you read some
Yeah.
fiction.
The not true stuff.
You read not true stuff, or do you read only true stuff? Because I read almost exclusively only true stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay.
Documentary.
Sure. Yeah. You read the Endurance, right?
Oh,
Big one for you.
That's a good
Shackleton.
one. Endurance. Oh,
Yeah.
did you read it?
I sort of.
You have to. Well, you listened to it.
Yeah, I did. And then Bridget read it.
But I did read Moby Dick.
And there's a documentary on Amazon about it, and you can go through the entire story.
Yes, I saw that. I watched it.
Which is very good.
I like watching documentaries.
So
Kristi likes watching the cooking shows. I watch these obscure documentaries.
I watch a lot of obscure documentaries.
She deals with me, and I deal with her.
Right.
You know what I mean? The British baking show kind of thing.
British.
You know? Yeah.
British.
The British.
The British. There you go. Yeah.
You know, they actually did something right. The British baking show.
Yeah.
I think it's changing cooking shows in America.
Yeah.
Because they're all so nice to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're like polite.
You just got your wife to laugh out of the room because we just brought up the British yet again unintentionally on every single episode we have brought up the British and
We
Empire,
have to.
which
It's a requirement.
Well, they don't know that. They don't know it's contractual for us that we have
Oh,
to bring up
okay.
the British.
But we get paid by the British
We get
Empire.
paid by the British Empire, right? That's part of the imperialistic behavior. Anyway, all right. So we're going to dive into these questions. I just want to get a little background on your writing. I'm going to try my best to do this the right way. I'm assuming it's this side you want me to read? Yeah, this side. And there's these two questions here. Okay. And I'm going to ask it to Shawn, and then I'm going to answer it for myself as well. Would that be the idea? Okay, cool. I guess we can try it. I'll take a sip of coffee as well. Because sipping coffee is great radio.
Yeah. It's really good for airtime.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it, Elton? Isn't it good for radio? Sipping coffee? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So, first time reading live on the radio, and I'm going to take another digression.
You know, we're live.
Yeah.
There are people that are listening.
I'm
this out.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
It's live.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't mess up.
What I was going to ask you is did you dread, or was it a big thing when you were coming up in school to be asked to read passages of a textbook out loud?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like
Yeah.
in school
Yeah.
where everyone would read a paragraph?
Yep. That's what I'm talking about. You had the textbook and you'd read a paragraph down each one.
And so I would try to count to figure out what
100%.
paragraph.
I couldn't count well. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I'd
can't count.
So I would memorize the wrong paragraph.
Yeah.
And then when it got to me, they'd be like, "Oh, can you read starting at the captain said blah,
like,
blah, blah." And I'd be like, "Oh, that's not where I was
I
at
messed
all."
up with my numbers.
So then what I would do is I would just say the passage that I had been prepared to read, and I'd just say it anyway.
Okay. No, I never did that.
Yeah, I would, and they would be like, "Okay, next paragraph."
You're a
And they'd say it
special
to the next,
person.
right? Then that's where the conversation starts,
Yeah.
right? But really, I was just like, I can't read this. I had prepared for this one,
Right.
or whatever. Tried to prepare live, like I'm doing now. Anyway, quick flashback
Okay.
is what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I totally feel that.
Yeah. If you're given a 3D model to build without directions, how would you approach it?
3D model of what?
I don't know, like an IKEA chair.
I mean, I would just look at it
Sure.
and I would see what piece goes where.
Now,
That's how I do it.
let's say that you're building an IKEA chair or something, or a Wayfair chair, or a table, or a dresser.
What's a Wayfair chair?
Like Wayfair, like the furniture company?
I don't know.
Never heard of it? Okay.
No,
So-
I get my furniture out of the trash and I fix it up. I'm like, why do you throw this away? It's perfectly all it needs is this. I could fix this. I
fair.
could fix it.
Let's imagine
Okay.
Let's-
that I bought.
a piece of furniture.
Okay.
Let's start there. Let's imagine for a minute that you
Kristi bought
purchased it.
furniture like 15 years ago when we bought our house.
Okay, let's back up. Let's say you're
Otherwise-
building a Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's
A
say
Lego furniture?
No. Let's say you're building.
That would not be comfortable.
I think it'd be okay. You can put a cushion on it.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
All right.
You like build it
Fair,
up big
fair.
enough, have a cushion on it.
Fair.
Anyway, let's say you're building a Lego model or you're building
Yeah.
like a ship in a bottle or like something like that.
Oh,
I don't
I've
know.
never done that.
Okay.
That looks hard.
Back to Lego model then. Let's say you're building a Lego model.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite things about talking to you is that this is a relatively straightforward question, but we do have to create a lot of.
I need to know the parameters.
I agree. I do the same thing. My dad and I used to
3D
play a
model.
game. We were talking about the other day. My dad and I used to play a game on long road trips called Possible or Impossible. And he would say something that was impossible, and I would have to say, this is why it could be possible. We do that all the time. So it's like the parameters are endless, right? Anyway, let's say you're given a Lego Star Wars ship or something like that, and you have to build it.
Yes.
And there's model instructions. How would you approach
I use
building
the
the Lego?
instructions.
Okay.
Otherwise, I go like full on creative mode.
Sure.
And I make random stuff that doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
but it's fun for me.
And it has nothing to do. Would have nothing to do.
No,
with
I've got Lego stuff in my office.
right,
Like a random dog that I made.
right.
You know,
That probably
just like-
came from some sort of a model that you were
Probably
like, I'm gonna
should have
build
followed the
dog instead.
directions.
I'm gonna build the dog.
But I was
instead.
like, I want to build a dog. I
Yeah.
don't want to build that.
so. But if you're going to build a full Lego model, you're following instructions piece by piece.
Yes, and the Lego model, I think Lego instructions at least, they're really good with dyslexia.
I like that the Lego model. Like you were referencing the model of Lego, but
Right.
also talking about a model.
The way they
Lego.
approach directions.
Yeah, you're using model in two different ways, which was pretty creative.
They use full color instructions, no words.
Yep.
Kind of like IKEA.
Yeah, sure.
They do that. They don't do full color.
Yeah.
They're too cheap.
Wayfair, yeah, sure. Wayfair basically does that.
But I don't mind cheap.
No.
I'm cool with that.
You know, they're
Legos are
one
expensive.
of they're the only furniture like global conglomerate furniture company, IKEA.
Okay.
And they've only ever taken on $500 of outside investment, and it was from a bank when the guy was a kid when he founded the company
Wow.
because he was selling bottle caps, and he needed to buy more bottles.
You can sell bottle caps?
This was like a long time ago. It's like in the 50s. Anyway,
I
maybe
didn't know
maybe it wasn't bottle caps, but it was something that he had to get money
Bottles.
for. Maybe bottles.
Yeah. I sold bottle when I was a kid.
Regardless, it's a very interesting company, and it's cheap, and it's total founding.
That's how I had candy money.
Oh,
Go around and collect bottles,
yeah, that makes sense.
then redeem them.
But you would follow the instructions exactly. And
Yeah,
so
pretty
you've never
much.
built like bought a modeled piece of furniture that you have to like put together?
Yeah, I bought that.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I assemble it the way I want to.
Okay. See, that's what I do too.
Yeah.
So like if you look at it from my perspective, that's what I do. But what I always end up with is like a lot of extra pieces. And then sometimes that's detrimental to the furniture itself.
Right. You got to be careful. Don't
So,
do that.
like an example of, I just put in a brand new, changed my sink right over to like new piping and stuff like that.
Oh,
Where you
yeah?
put in piping, like you take that all out and you put in the new drain and you put in the new faucet and all that.
Yeah.
That fits together in like some sort of a model, right? And so I was just like, I think I get how this works,
Right.
and I put it all together, and I did not.
Oh, it like leaking everywhere.
Yeah, was not working right. So Bridget had to step in, who does not have the same brain. Bridget, my wife, who does not have the same brain at all. And I got pretty far on my own, but you have to have that other piece. For me, I have to have that other piece that's like, okay, well, here's technically how you should have done this, and this is how. Like, this is where you went awry, right? It's like getting like most of the way through a math problem and then not being able to finish it.
Or designing a website.
Sure, like Dreamweaver.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of how it went for me. I think that's a great question because I used to think that I could just do it for the most part. And I think I could design a way to build something because of my dyslexic brain. But I don't think that I do well at taking instructions for how to build something.
And I told you this before, and Kristi's here, so she can vouch for this. But she'll be like, how do I put this together kind of thing?
Yeah.
And when we first got married, I would just walk right over and like,
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
it's obvious to me.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, she would get a little upset, you know? She's like nodding yes.
Yeah.
And so now when she asks me to put something together, I'll like, I don't know.
Maybe
I
it goes
don't
this way.
know. It's a good question.
That's a good lesson learned.
Yes.
Second
A
question.
little bit of acting.
Yeah, I think
I think there's a lot of good. She's leaving. She's leaving again
I think this is going to be our new success story on the radio. That if we get her to leave the room multiple times,
because she's laughing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good dyslexic actors.
really,
Yeah.
that's cool. It makes sense
Yeah.
because they have to kind of play
They had to
like
play.
Well, we have to play like we know what's going on.
Right.
When we definitely do not.
Or we have to like appease people,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, be like, yeah, that's take a little bit more
Wow.
time with something.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you Google it, there's a lot. Like the Fonz. The Fonz is dyslexic.
The fun.
I don't know his
I
name.
don't know his name. I can't remember his name.
And then like the guy in the Pirates and the,
Oh, Johnny Depp,
yeah,
right?
maybe.
Johnny Depp.
Orlando
Orlando Bloom.
I know he is. And then the love interest, I don't remember her name.
We went through like a whole list of
Yeah.
dyslexic actors before.
Who's that?
It is Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley.
Okay. I mean,
Cool.
there's a lot in
Yeah.
actors who are dyslexic. Yeah.
Should we go into question number 2? I don't know where we are in time.
I don't either.
Okay.
We got 9. Is that 9? Okay.
I thought it was 8.
I saw 8.
Regardless. Okay. When you tell stories about birthday gifts from your childhood, which details are important to you?
Wait, what?
That's what I thought. I don't really understand this. When you tell stories about birthday gifts from your childhood, which details are important?
I don't even know how to respond to that.
That might be part of the question. I don't know.
I don't like. This is. I don't.
How about we start here? Tell
Yeah.
me about a gift that you got as a child.
I-
We're going to turn this into a therapy session.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
I mean, I can't really remember birthday gifts or Christmas gifts.
I think that might be part of it because I remember talking to Bridget about this, where she was like, "I loved this, blah blah blah," and I was like, "I have absolutely no idea what."
Yeah, I
happened
can't remember
during my
that.
childhood.
Yeah, and Kristi will ask me that. She'll be like, "What was your favorite gift?" And I'm like, "I had gifts."
That's what I
Are
say.
you like that too?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Because I'm like,
I feel like we're being experimented on live on the radio
yeah,
by both of our wives.
yeah, and maybe that's dyslexia thing.
I don't know. I make a reference. I think I've said this before, but like anytime I talk about my early childhood, I just say I was 10 years old. Every time. I'm like, somewhere around like when I was 10. But like I never go like, I remember when I was 3 or when I was 5 or when I have no concept of like
Right.
what that means.
Okay, I'm the same way.
Right?
Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what age. I don't
Things
even know
happened.
the age of my children.
I have friends all the time.
Like I know they're old.
they're generally
or
getting older,
They're teenagers.
I would guess.
Ballpark.
Yeah. Ballpark teenagers.
That's we talked about this before. Like, how long you been married? Oh, since '99.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it doesn't move.
Yeah.
It stays the same.
So you think like I can always remember one gift that I got, and I remember I got a little wagon, a Red Ryder wagon.
I think you talked
Yeah.
about this.
And but I couldn't tell you any other, and a sled, but I couldn't tell you any other stuff that like I got. And I'm sure that would very frustrate my parents because I had plenty of gifts when I
know.
was a kid. And I just don't, and I think of in terms of what I did with the wagon and not really any actual details about the wagon, right? So like relate the experience to it a lot more than I do the item itself. Like I sold soda out of the wagon. Like I made my own soda and walked around the neighborhood.
Wait,
and
you
sold-
made soda?
Yeah, I made my own soda. It was called Fizzo. And I sold it out of the wagon. I'd bring it up to our pool and I would just sell it out of the wagon.
How'd you make soda?
It's just like combined, probably really not a right way to make soda, but like,
Oh,
combined.
like bleach and,
just poison my whole neighborhood.
and cocaine and stuff like that.
They loved it. Let me tell you, it wrecked my neighborhood. Fizzo is not FDA approved. No, like just combined like other sodas. right? Like
Okay.
made like what we talked about last week.
We called it
Suicide.
trigger. Yeah,
Sorry,
suicide.
Sorry,
yeah.
trigger suicide. But basically did that and made this ingredient and added some other stuff in there too. Things. And
Heroin?
Yeah.
Keep them coming back, man.
Yeah, it's just really, I had to find a way that they couldn't say no.
Right.
That was really what it was.
So you're a pusher.
Yeah. I was pushing Vizzo out of my red. I'm sorry, Alton. We got 2 people out of here now. I think we have 5 minutes left, but yeah, that was the second question.
Wait, what was the question again?
It was when you tell stories about birthday gifts from your childhood, which details are important? It actually says IMPT. That's pretty dyslexic written. IMPT.
Yeah.
Because I think important is spelled IMPORTANT. Ooh,
So Kristi misspelled a word.
that was a pretty big. No, she ran out of room.
Oh, okay.
She ran out of room. She would never misspell a word. But I don't know if you just heard me spell a word right.
Yeah, no.
Out loud.
Is it right? I don't know.
Was that right?
It was right? Yeah.
IMPORTANT.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Look at that.
So, like,
Big deal.
my
Jacob's crying.
the birthday memory I have was when I lived in Miami. I lived on a lake, and my family set up a piñata. So I think I was like 7. It was the first time I saw one. And I remember just having so much fun smashing that thing
Yeah.
to get candy. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
But you knew there was candy in there? You weren't just like, wasn't just like a rage thing?
I don't remember.
Because I think that would be interesting if someone gave you a piñata and you just naturally wanted to destroy it with a stick, not knowing there was candy in there.
I think I realized there was candy in it.
just curious.
I mean, I think I had heard of them, but I had never had one.
Yeah.
And it was at my party.
Yeah.
And nobody got hurt.
I love piñatas, personally.
All right, well, let's get one.
We should get one in the studio?
Yeah.
And just,
Here in the studio. We'll hang it right here
I think that makes
from the sprinkler.
Great radio. Hang it from the sprinkler.
Hang it from a vent, and then we take turns whacking at it throughout the episode.
I think it makes great radio. We got about 2 minutes, so we'll wind down and give some time for a commercial, I guess. Yeah.
You are listening to Dyslexics Untied. Tune in every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. at BellarmineRadio.com. That is BellarmineRadio.com. Listen to us again on Fridays on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube for a special video edition. Now, on with the show.
So everybody, welcome back. And we're excited to be here. I just noticed that there's a lot going on in the background. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of movement.
But yeah, so we're happy to be back. Thank you for staying with us on this lovely Saturday. I think we're going to dive back into the questions again. And then I have another piece that I'd want to go through after that, unless you have something specific you want to cover.
Well, did we talk about TED
No,
last week?
we can.
Because we just did a TED event.
Yeah, we just did our 7th TED event. I think we had talked about it just wrapping up, but we didn't dive into any details
Yeah.
as far as I know.
So,
You want to give a little background on TED and how we've
we've been...
and what that is? Yeah.
So we're like the only reoccurring TED event in Kentucky.
Yep.
And surrounding areas, even big cities. Nashville, they're doing good.
We're coming for Nashville.
Yeah, I'm coming for them.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Aim for the ankles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, no, they're great. I'm friends with them on LinkedIn and stuff. But
Have you got to go to that event?
I've never been.
We should go.
I went to Cincinnati, but they haven't had one in years now.
We should go to Nashville's.
Yeah? Field trip?
Yeah.
I think we got enough money to go.
Yeah.
Because we made some money at our event. A little bit. Not a lot.
We actually got to keep some.
Yeah. So maybe that should be a good TED trip.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So what was your takeaway?
I thought it was really. We had some strong topics on there. Like
Because you're MC.
Yeah.
So you see a different side because
Yeah.
I'm sitting at the back.
It's
Not sitting, standing, but
it's really high energy. I never know where you are
I'm
because
everywhere.
I always shout you out in the beginning, or I try
That's
to.
nice.
Yeah,
I don't expect that.
I know, but I always try to make a big effort because you don't expect it, and it's never on the teleprompter. I'm just like, we're shouting out Shawn or we're shouting out Kristi and the TEDx Mafia. So, but from the background, it's really high energy. There's a lot of nerves. Like when people come, we're standing in the back. I'm sitting in a chair. Abby's sitting in a chair. Where May was there this year. We're sitting in 3 chairs, and then people come up those back stairs, and they're like ready to go, or they're super nervous. And so a lot of times we either got to lift the energy up or bring the energy back down of like, it's going to be okay. This is going to be a really cool event. You're going to rock and roll. But it's never like, we never like think anything's bad going to happen. Like, there's never any like chaos or anything back there. Right. It's just,
we've been working on it for a whole year.
right.
Every event.
It's very chill. You guys know, you guys run it like a well-oiled machine. We know exactly what's going on. And then the cues are so easy to read,
Good.
right? Because it's just speakers and you just go through. So
So
it's not super complicated back there.
as a dyslexic thinker, how is it for you to be on the stage and have to read these prompts? Because you have to read a lot.
Yeah, I had an interesting. What I try to do is so it's on this big Google Doc essentially.
Yep.
Right. This Google PowerPoint doc.
Google Slide.
Google Slides. Sorry.
That's fine.
And what I try to do is take it in snippets. So I have like some really long bios to read. So the first thing I try to do when I get there on that Thursday before is I try to shorten some of the bios if it's okay with the speakers. So I'm like, it'll just flow a lot better. Right. So we won't take, because a lot of times it's like either the entire or the majority of the pamphlet that we give out. And it's like, that's on the pamphlet.
Right.
We don't need the
Read it.
entire bio said. Right. So read the pamphlet if you want the whole bio. So I try to find out what's important to the speakers. So I meet with each one of them. Sometimes they want the whole thing on there. Right. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. We had the band this year. Right. And
Beaverhauser Brothers.
yeah,
Man, they rocked it.
they were fantastic.
God, dude,
So it
good
really
band.
brought the energy
It's a really
back
good
up, right?
band.
Because it's like there was very serious topics,
heavy
this year.
topics,
really
yeah.
heavy topics this year. So it was a really good way to end it. So what I try to do is I take those Google Slides, and in like how long is each talk? Like
8 to 10 minutes.
8 to 10 minutes, right? So I'll take that 8 to 10 minutes, and I'll read that slide over and over and over and over again while I'm backstage. I just pace.
Okay. Oh,
I just pace back and forth and read that slide. Kristi's watching me do it. And so then, because I just can't like this year even and years past, I've went home and tried to make note cards of all the slides and memorize them. And I can't do it. I cannot do it. I've tried it every year. I'll go and we can't get super in advance either because we don't have the information locked in until the night before. So it's not like which maybe we could change that in the future, but
Yeah,
it's not
we
like
could.
I have like months in advance to memorize all this stuff, like an actor would, which I think in performance might be a little bit better. But regardless, what I do is memorize them as close as I can before I walk out on the stage. So I've probably read it like 15 times to 20 times before I walk out on the stage, just that one section. And then I'll go on the stage and I'll say it because I've just said it in my head like over and over again. I start by reading it on the Google slide, and then I'll say it out loud without the Google slide. And then literally while I'm standing behind the curtain, I'll literally be just saying it out loud to myself very quietly, and then I'll just walk out and say it. Like, that's just how my memory works.
yeah. It's just like what we were talking about before when you're in class and you have to read a paragraph and
Yep.
you try to prepare beforehand
Yep.
and you read it, so you
Yep.
got it in your head and
Now
you're comfortable with it.
What gets me is that there's also the added pressure of just being in front of like 150 people and trying to do it, which doesn't bother me a ton. But what I would like to do in TED future, which I think, and I don't know, I would love to see if people even care. Almost for me, and it depends on how we continue to do this. I couldn't do it if it's like in years past where I do every single speaker, right? So I don't introduce every speaker anymore, right? I only introduce like 5 or 4.
Yeah, you're tag teaming.
Exactly. Excuse me. So it almost acts as the teleprompter being so huge and being so in front of us acts as a little bit of a crutch. Because it's like, I do have it in my head, but then if I have any amount of pause when I walk out there, I'm like, boom, where's the teleprompter? I'll just read it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think that if we have more prep in the future, that we could take, I'm going to end up shooting myself in the foot on this for next year.
Yeah.
But that you could have a little bit better of a performance, but is it worth that enormous amount of effort you have to go to memorize everything?
Right.
And again, I don't know how this works in the future either, like if I'll do all the speakers or if we'll still tag team it, or if, it just, we kind of talk about how many people are going to be involved. Is there going to be someone, because it used to be me doing the speakers and Abby does the in-betweens, right? And then we added May. And so it's just, a lot less speaking. So it just depends on how we balance it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with dyslexic speakers. I was reading something about Steve Jobs, and he would prepare so much before each Apple presentation.
Yeah.
Because he was dyslexic.
Yep.
And he didn't want to read slides, and he would just keep going over and over in his head till he got it right.
And if it's my content, as in like it's about like when I give like a presentation or something like that, that's exactly what I do.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think like, because I gave a 45-minute long lecture with no notes.
Yeah, the way I
on
design
my
my notes is like it'd be a large.
like
There's
ideas.
main points. There's main ideas,
case I
and
miss-
I can speak to them, and they'll sit in front of me, right, on the prompter or whatever it is. It'll say this idea, then this idea, and that flows me. But that doesn't work when you're like an MC. You just have to memorize it,
right? Because the way their name is, what their degree is, all that kind of stuff. You can't make that up. As you go.
Yeah.
We talked about that story when I worked with the analytics program.
Yeah.
And I got the call in my office, and they're like, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
You got a 2-hour lecture, and I was like, I got 2 weeks from now. And they're like, "No, it's today." And I was like, "No, it's 2 weeks from now." And they're like, "No, they're all here now."
Oh my God.
And so as I was walking, and we talked about this, I'm like formatting the lecture in my head. It was all stuff I know.
Sure. It's not, you have it.
2 hours though, man. It was like, that was really stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I run 4 or 5 hour month meetings every month with my entire team. And
What? Why?
It's in person. It's like they do.
Oh, in person.
In person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in person. They all come together from all the various
You get up,
locations.
get coffee, whatever, and come back.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And we do it every month, and we do team building. We do all different kinds of stuff, go over the numbers, X, Y, Z, processes, things of that nature. And I can run those all day long, and they don't stress me out too much.
Right.
And I do some general preparation for like, here's the topics. But it's all stuff that I deeply understand and know how to talk about.
Right.
So I think that something that could be helpful just from a dyslexic person. I'm sorry, I hit your camera, Lucas.
How dare you?
Don't touch his camera, man.
Something from a like dyslexic perspective would be,
He's got a machete. You better watch out.
if I'm going to prep and want to be as authentic as I can as an MC, really you just have to get to know the speakers.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would legitimately have to do is like we'd have to do a dinner or something like that where I can connect the speaker details to some sort of emotion or some sort of interaction, or something like that. And that's just...
I like that idea. Maybe we should do a pre-show dinner. Because we do an after-show dinner or lunch.
And it just could be even more way far in advance. But you also have commitments to speakers. You have people that are from different areas.
Right.
It's just logistically...
They're flying in. Yeah.
It's logistically really challenging. And maybe just as an MC, I can take on more of an effort of having like a one-on-one conversation with them or something like that. I don't know. But it's a difficult to answer, very, very long form answer your question. It's a difficult thing to do. And what I've done is just this quick memorization technique. Because I really, really like when I can look out to the whole audience the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's my goal.
Right.
And I hope that it shows up.
But it's tough to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
That's not my skill set. So.
But you do a good job.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And I think that Abby started doing the exact same thing. because she'll reads a lot more than I do. And that's what she says. She's like, oh, I just go out there and read it. And so we kind of talked about it 2 years ago where I was like, you know, you can open these slides and look at them. And then now she blows it out of the water because she's not the same. She can memorize it in 2 seconds probably.
And she's a theater major.
Right,
you know?
exactly. So she knows exactly.
She knows how to do, just like Lucas with theater, you know? So.
Yeah. So what's on your end of the event? What's it look like for you? Or is it just all done at that point?
No. When the event's happening, like I'm taking note of everything I see.
Yeah.
Like, how can we make this event stronger?
Yeah.
Ted got onto me for being too aggressive.
Yeah?
Yeah, they did, because I was asking too many questions about, like, growth and things like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I stand in the back, and I usually walk around, and I just kind of take note of, like, what people are doing in the audience, what people are doing on stage, or the photographers, or Lucas and how he's messing everything up.
Usually that's what I take note of when I'm on stage. I'm like, God, he's still down there. I'm like, geez.
No, he's awesome.
He's a little huddled up.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
It's a long way from being in the little hole that we put him in on the first ever event with behind the curtain.
Oh, yeah.
He's literally in a little...
Behind the
Those two.
You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Did you even have a chair?
No.
I had a chair.
You had
but
a
no
chair?
leg room.
He was literally shoved into like a little hole.
Every report was taken up, everything. Then we got someone, first speaker, not naming names, but you know who you are, comes up to me with flash drive saying, "Hey, 10 minutes before we open the door, saying, hey,
Yeah.
I have my
Revised, revisions. And it's
Well,
like...
you gotta be kidding me."
And nowadays we're just like, no.
No, you lost.
No, you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, just stuff like that. Like for me, the last, what was it? I mean, there's a lot of things because I walk around outside too to see how the interaction is going.
Sure.
And that was great. But my number one thing this year was that we had a photographer with clackety heels or something.
Oh, sure.
So it was like clack, 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 clack. You can hear him walking.
Oh.
And I remember before, a couple of years ago, I was like, every photographer, if they want to do it, they have to have silent. It has to be silent.
Yeah.
Because you would hear someone speaking and we'd be like, clack, 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 clack.
Yeah.
So now it's like, you got to wear sneakers.
Like paparazzi.
Yeah. Or just go barefoot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. But
that'd be kind of cool.
no more clacking.
No more clacking.
No more clacking. That was the top one.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, man, this event was our best. And you could watch it if you're interested. Just Google TEDx Bellarmine U. We're on. It's YouTube. We streamed it live. You can watch it.
You can also watch us on YouTube, right, Lucas?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
You can at least watch our old ones.
There's
right
a documentary too that we did.
Oh yeah.
So there's a little documentary on how we do things.
Ted,
For Ted.
right? You're talking about
For Ted.
No, we don't need a
What's that?
documentary for how we do stuff here. It's not that. It's not
No,
that.
it would be
not
really
that
boring.
complicated. Yeah, it's not that
A
complicated.
documentary about me.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could do. Jacob, you want to make a documentary without Lucas?
How much am I getting paid?
Nothing.
I'm in.
Cool.
Oh my gosh! What if you just said like 200 an hour? What would we say then?
It's a miracle.
There's no way. None of that's
A
gonna.
miracle, that's
None
what
of
it
that's
says.
gonna
A miracle.
happen.
We get paid in fun around here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Fun. Sure.
we get paid in fun.
All right, we got 13 minutes.
All right, you want to? We can do
Like
two
talk
different-
about dyslexia.
Well, we have actually a decent amount,
Kinda,
which
a little
more
bit.
than normal, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
It's a record.
it's
So-
a record. Okay, good.
There's two different things I got for you. We can go over two other fun questions, and we can finish it out, or we can save them for later, or I can go over some stuff that I have on my phone.
We could save the questions.
Okay.
They're not going to go stale.
No, that's what's good. We did two of them.
The birthday question really threw me, man.
I know. You were like, what?
Yeah, I don't.
So I started looking at, and I don't know if we've ever actually done this, which is interesting to me. So I wouldn't say it this way, but like the field of learning disabilities is very vast,
Yes.
right?
And it seems to get bigger.
Sure.
Every day.
100%.
All these new terms.
But we've never talked about, as far as I know, the terms that go along. Like dyslexia is a learning disability. It's its own disability,
Right.
obviously.
And I don't like disability, but that's
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's more
I
how
know.
it's categorized here.
right.
Right. So dyslexia is a learning disorder, is what it says here.
Ugh.
That impacts reading and other language-based cognitive skills. Right. So goes into problems with spelling, difficulty reading, blah blah blah, and then it gives like managing tips. It's a weird website. I'm not even going to reference it, but what it does bring in is like the other disabilities, the other differences, learning differences that are around it, such as dyscalculia.
Yeah. There's
Right.
a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
that I don't know anything about.
Me
those.
neither. So dyscalculia impairs a person's ability to understand and learn math concepts, which to me feels like dyslexia.
Yeah.
And so what I remember when I was going through all the stuff that I went through as a kid when I was dyslexic is they were like, he's dyslexic and he's like not good at spelling and he's not good at math, but he's good at science and he's good at whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But now it seems like there's some more categorizations of like, okay, well, if you can be dyslexic and then you can also be dyscalculic. And it's like, what? I just thought that fell into the same categorization.
So
of
you could be
dyslexia.
like bad at math but good at spelling.
Sure. But then you wouldn't be dyslexia. You would be dyscalculic.
Okay.
Well, I don't even know. It doesn't even give me a way to say it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I don't know what that would
Yeah.
mean.
And we're not doctors or anything.
No. We should probably
But-
make that very clear on this
Yeah.
episode. Well, you're a doctor.
Well, I'm a doctor.
Not
but
that kind of
Not
doctor.
that kind of doctor.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, like the number of terms that are coming up these days, it's kind of baffling. But I guess it's
One of the symptoms, and symptoms is like such a weird.
yeah. I don't like the word symptoms with dyslexia. I don't
And
like that.
then there's dysgraphia.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
You know that one. That
But I don't
writing
know what it
abilities.
is. Okay.
But it's like, okay, well then what is dyslexia? Symptoms of dysgraphia, illegible handwriting. On paper, there is uneven spacing and inadequate spatial layout, difficulty with spelling and grammar,
That's dyslexia.
fatigue and frustration with writing tasks.
Oh, yeah.
But then you go back up to dyslexia. Dyslexia is a learning disorder that impacts reading and other language-based cognitive skills. So it's categorizing it as just reading and language-based.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not.
Dyscalculia.
Dyscalculia.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
That's great. Dyslexic is hard enough to spell. I can't
Right.
imagine spelling dyscalculia.
And then there's one that's dyspraxia. Yeah, so dyspraxia is like, or however it's pronounced, is like motor skills. All of these things to me, which was
Wait, motor skills?
yeah. So like hitting a baseball or something like that.
Oh, no, I've always been good at that.
See, I haven't.
But you were in the sports.
Yeah, but after I started doing these, like eye therapy was what it was called when I
Oh.
was a kid. After I did that stuff,
Oh, and
Right?
see, I grew up surfing,
right,
so I didn't have to hit a ball.
right. All of that, though, to me, growing up, went into dyslexia, and this, like,
It's like fragmenting.
yeah, this is fragmenting it all out, which doesn't really make any sense to me. And I was just curious of your thoughts on any of these.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't want to offend anybody, but I feel like dyslexia is a home for a lot of different types of thinking. Just like the spectrum. You know?
yeah, for sure.
I feel like dyslexia is it's a spectrum.
yeah,
And
just like everything.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before, but my daughter Siri has like a really, I don't want to say minor, but just a little bit of dyslexia.
Sure.
I don't know how to say it properly. And where I am more of the medium,
Yep.
and then I've met people who are like really, I don't know how to say it. they can't read at all.
Yeah.
You know, and but I do find it frustrating that people, when they talk about dyslexia and dyspraxia or whatever, they talk about the limitations.
100%.
You know, they don't talk about like what they do. You know,
I'd really be interested to see. That's what I was just doing just now. Is like Googling, like I just Googled like dysgraphia, and I was like, are we talking about this in other avenues besides where I was looking, you know, researching it? And it's like, yeah,
no, I've heard it. Yeah.
Dysgraphia is this thing, and it's like, what? I'd be really interested to talk to like it's all neurological, and I'd be interested to talk to like a neurologist on here, and get the perspective of like, what is causing that difference, right? Besides,
I don't think what's causing it is just that we're noticing it.
Yeah.
We're like identifying it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we talked about earlier, like a lot of disproportionately dyslexic people end up in prison.
Yep.
Because they were frustrated with the school system. They couldn't read. They got told they were lazy.
Yep.
And they went out and robbed a liquor store.
Yep.
You know? So I think that's what it is. It's about identifying.
And I think labeling, and I know we always end up getting into this conversation, is like labeling is super important for this stuff, but it also can be like over labeled and labeling the wrong thing. It's like, yeah, we understand that dysgraphia, you know, can cause unclear writing and stuff like that, but like, what is happening on the other end of the brain, if you want to look at it like linearly? Like, what is happening on the other end of the brain? Because you're not good at this, well, that means you're good at that, right? Because normally they're much more creative, you know, much more outgoing, all those other sorts of things. And then it goes back to the classic discussion, which is it like nature or is it nurture, right? How much of it is you're bad at this, almost like someone who can't see might be better with their other senses, right? Is it that? Is it only that? Or is it actually baked into us that we're better at these sorts of things?
Yeah, I think, that's a good question. And so two things. One is I feel like there's kind of a danger in saying, I'm dyslexic, I can't do this.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So I'm dyslexic and I can do it. It just takes me a little longer and I'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'll rewrite the sentence in words that I know how to spell.
And where does it
And
really
then-
matter that it's taking you longer besides school?
Yeah, in school.
Right.
Yeah, because your time test.
Yeah.
You've got 1 hour to do the essay. And then you write out the essay and you have great ideas. And then they mark you down because you spelled things wrong.
But it doesn't really matter outside of like an educational institution to take longer to do certain things.
Right.
Right. So like, why does it have to matter so much that it takes so long to spell and write and all? Like, why is there a speed tied?
Yeah.
To these types of things, I honestly don't know. I'm not trying to bash it.
No, I got kind of over that a bit when I was a reporter. Because I'd have like an hour to write a story, you know, and have to write it quick.
Yeah.
I didn't have spell check. But you're writing at a 10th grade level.
Sure.
So you're not using big words. And I had a dictionary in front of me.
Yep.
And I would flip through it. So, yeah, I think it's good that people are being recognized for their differences, I think, the way they learn. But I also think I just want to encourage people with dyslexia and other things to not hold themselves back.
100%.
You know, don't hold back.
I'll tell you, I tried that Dreamweaver every single time that we reset it in your class. Yes. I tried it every time, even though it was going to be no better. Just eviscerated it.
Yeah, and that's why we had COVID. Right. Because you wrote really bad code.
Is CodeVid.
CodeVid. Yeah, that was the first word.
That was the first word, CodeVid.
Elton says 2 minutes.
Everybody's saying 2 minutes.
I know.
Got all kinds of timekeepers.
All these people.
This is great. Do you know what to do when it hits 2 minutes? That might be an important thing to talk about.
Super Bowl commercial.
Oh. Is that coming up?
I don't know.
It just happened.
We should do one.
We should do a Super Bowl commercial?
Yes.
It could be kind of fun.
For Dyslexics
Can we make our own
Untied.
commercials on here?
Oh, we could record it.
I love it. I love that Elton's just, every time. Like, that's
Yeah.
a great way to be.
We got our flag back too.
Yeah, we ever fly. Is that getting on here at all?
I don't know.
You guys
Can
are
we-
the camera folks.
Usually behind yours. Really, you picked the worst place to put it.
Oh, I didn't put it
Yeah,
there.
I
Chris
mean,
did. So,
Sorry, Kristi.
yeah.
For this
Now you
one.
feel bad for
Chris-
being mean. You'd be mean to me all day. You can't be
Kristi.
mean to Christy.
I
should
like Kristi.
This one has
So,
a bit.
you know.
It just has the ED that's behind you.
Oh, that's good.
Ed.
Ed.
It's not
Ed.
that's not the best two letters to have.
So maybe we'll put it in a different place next time. Make it a little bit better. I like these headphones a lot.
Yeah.
We're hitting 1 minute.
Now that I know how to work the volume.
Yeah, it's amazing what. Just,
Oh, we got to wrap it up, Lucas says.
just like everything in dyslexia, it's amazing what learning one little piece can push you so far forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the time. We got, 36 seconds? We're still learning this, Elton. You know, we're just.
And I think it's fun for the listener, all three of them, to realize that this, isn't exactly a well-oiled machine behind here. So, and they understand what
Elton's
it's
got it
taking to
well
happen.
oiled.
Oh, sure.
We just
sure,
don't
sure.
know how to push the buttons right.
Yeah, and we'll get
So
there.
we're learning.
I think we'll get there as the time continues to run down. And radio's just a different art than we're used to.
Yeah, we're getting used to it
Yeah.
to be live.
But I'm happy to be back
Yes, me too.
on Dyslexics Untied.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for listening to Dyslexics Untied. Tune in live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on BellarmineRadio.com. That is Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on BellarmineRadio.com. Listen to us again on Fridays on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. Also, catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, see you next time.